Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Junkyard Digs. I just chugged a monster. Today we're going to be working on the Bronco, getting it ready for our cheap truck challenge next weekend. Yeah, I've got like 4 days to take this from a rusty pile of shit to a rusty pile of shit that will drive over a log. We've got to do a fuel system, work on the cooling system, do the stopping system, the rolly over, stay alive, I can't stick this finger out, and a bunch of other stuff. So without further ado, let's get to work. So like I mentioned, right off the bat, there's a few things that I have to get done, and then everything beyond there is kind of like, I'll get to it. Number one, safety. I don't want to die in a rusty piece of shit Bronco. And if you didn't see episode 1, this thing is absolutely a piece of crap. It's had like 3 layers of repair already on top of it, and it's rusted out since then. That side was replaced. If you come in here to the frame, you can just grab the cab mounts, and that's what's left of the frame. So pretty typical Iowa rust mobile. So yeah, not exactly the essence of safety here. So what we're gonna do is build a roll cage right above here to both keep the frame in one piece and keep me from dying if I roll over. This of course means I have to do some fabrication, which is honestly my weakest strength when it comes to working on cars, is fabricating and welding and all that stuff. I usually just weld a stick to a nut and it's like, yeah, there, it works. So we're gonna do everything right this time, and in order to do everything right, you have to have the right equipment, which is where my friends at Rogue Fabrication come in. They've sent us their M600 tubing bender. So the first thing we're gonna do is get that sucker set up so that we can bend our own roll cage in a badass DIY fashion. Like I said, I don't know a lot about fab, so we're all gonna learn it together today. Let's get this thing put together. Never been a great welder. Oh, wow, yeah, those are pretty bad. Don't zoom in on them.
I'm gonna zoom in on them.
No one needs to see this. No. Well, it's totally dark now, but our Rogue Fabrication tube bender is finally done. Not to toot my own horn, but I think that looks pretty damn sick with the red, silver on the inside, and black for the frame. And I finally got to use those stencils I made in the Army. There were a couple Junkyard Digs hidden in there. In case you guys want to get one of these for yourself, head to roguefab.com. Their tubing bender with a die starts at $725 and up. If you're really looking to spend some coin, they have their elite packages, which come with a bunch of dies and the machine pre-welded, some sweet graphics on it. So they've got the whole spectrum covered on pricing here. The fact this thing runs and drives is honestly very impressive. Remember, this thing is such a piece of shit that it's literally scrap. So we're doing it more justice than it will ever get by giving it one last little ripperoonie on the internet.
Could have died.
We only have 3 days. It is next Sunday. It's currently Saturday. If you do the math, that's 8. But we have to be there on Sunday, so that's 7. Pack and do the camera stuff Saturday. That's 6. And I got 3 days of school. We only have 2 days. start working our way back. Sway bar,
running boards.
Cut some of that extra floor shit out. We don't need that.
We don't have a floor to cut out.
That's true. Cut it out with compressed air. Not like the cutting tool, just the blowgun. Love it. Now this is for style. We're not just Neanderthals.
Looks amazing.
Hell yeah, it does. Forgot a spot.
That's attached to the
I think it holds the grill on. That's what that does. Nothing a zip tie can't fix. How does it look?
Like a trophy truck.
It really does, actually. Our approach angle is ridiculously good now. Alright, so yeah, we're just going to keep at this for a bit until the other side looks the same, and then we'll be back.
It looks like a Torino.
It kind of does. I'm getting Torino vibe. I'm not going to lie. It looks a lot cooler than I was anticipating. I was a little nervous, but now I'm glad we went this route. This will allow us to open up the inner fender wells, get a lot more air to that engine as well. So when we're just idling off-road for 7 hours, we don't cook the frickin' thing. Transmission cooler. Okay, listen. We gotta talk. You need to go over here, man. Stay. That should be more than enough for a tow point. Alright, steering stabilizer's in the way. Someone already welded this bracket up here. I'll see if I can get him off. It's already blown. There's oil everywhere. It's junk. We don't need it. Way it goes. Death wheel. Alright. That sucker's out of there. Okay, next up is our sway bar. We're going to get that guy out of there so we get some good side-to-side articulation. This looks to be a really beefy sway bar, and I actually kind of want to keep him around, so I'm going to put the death wheel aside. Don't worry, I'll be back. And then we're going to take the bolts off and remove it properly. Boop. Alright, sway bar is off. Wow, one really big convenience of having a super rusty floor. If I wanted to, I could do all the other dash wiring from right here. It'd be no problem.
Oh, yeah, let's just work on the heater box. Oh, yeah, there's some wires. Some more wires. Good to go.
Well, we've got all this stuff taken off now. Definitely have a much better approach angle. I say we go give her a test real quick. See if it does any better. We got, I won't say a course, but there's a pile of dirt over there that we drove up before, and it made it. Could have been a little better. We'll see how it does now. Oh my God. Okay, here we go. Okay. What else you got? Come on, we need a little flex. There it is. We let the body roll now that stability bar is gone, it's not pulling it around. This hinge is at a different angle. Oh, it twisted so much. Oh my God. All right. I'd say we're making progress in the right direction. Let's go get some lunch, come back, and finish up the running boards in the back half. That's good stuff. There we go. Does that look a lot better? That does look a lot better. You're right, Kevin. Good job. Okay. Same on that side. Those were the worst thing I've had to take off so far. Okay, everything's done up front and on the sides. Let's move on to the ass end. There we go. Bumper's still good, so we're actually going to save this guy. It snowed last night. It's a solid 34 degrees outside. Winter's here. My favorite. Seeing that it's going to be like 46 degrees the day of the event, I might want to put these doors back on when we get a little closer to it, but for now, I'm definitely taking them off so that we can get a little more room in here to work. Oh shit, I forgot about the wiring. Ah! Why are there even wires? What? Is there a speaker? Oh, Jesse! Hello! Can you have a wire cutter? Oh, convenient of timing for you to arrive for the day. Yep. Oh, thank you, sir. You saved me. You're welcome. Yes, it's possible to take this off with one person if you're smarter than me and you remember the wires. Would you like a door?
I'm good. I have some actually.
Dang hole. Alright, so it's time to do the roll cage. We've gone ahead and stared at the frame and some other bit for 40 minutes, so by now the required time of thinking about stuff should be up, and it should come to me as we go. We're going to remove this spot so we can get to the spring shackle below, and then build some gusset plate and shit off of that to strengthen both the spring shackle, which may be rusty, and obviously the truck, which is rusty. And then we're going to do a hoop right here, one step at a time, and step one is just cut stuff. Just again, like yesterday. A lot of cutting and building stuff. Tired of getting dirt in my mouth, so I actually wore a mask. That's all tacked up. I'm going to finish this off, and then we'll be back to see the end result of our bracketry for one side. It only took an hour. I have no tools for fabrication and discovery. You know, as much as this little Eastwood is kicking ass, I don't think it has the amperage for the job we're trying to do. This thing's maxed out, and it was not intended for this type of use. This is for sheet metal. This is a great little welder. So I think I'm going to head down to the welding store, grab a new 220, and we'll be back tomorrow. I have spent my entire life with worn out, used, poop welders. I've never been able to make a good weld until now because of that right there. That is a brand new Lincoln Electric 256 MIG welder. I was tired of losing time screwing around with all this other stuff and making booger poop welds, so I went down to the welding shop and bought myself a brand new $3,000 welder out of my own pocket. So that just goes to show that not everything on this channel is sponsored. Probably 85% of the stuff I do, I pay for out of my own pocket.
So I have to thank you guys for watching, sharing, and liking these videos, and subscribing down below if you have not, so that I can keep buying equipment, vehicles, parts, and tools to keep making you guys content free right here on YouTube. With that being said, I shall now ground this vehicle to what I'm going to dub Clifford the Big Red Welder, and we're gonna melt some stuff together and build ourselves a roll cage. Let's get to it. That's more like it. So it's come to the point in the video where we're gonna wipe all the dust off of our brand new, freshly painted and assembled Rogue tube bender and figure out how the hell to use this thing. Now usually, when it comes to fabrication channels showcasing one of these, they know what they're doing and they're using big words and they're talking like blah blah blah, numbers, letters, numbers, and I'm like, what's happening? That looks cool, you can do some cool stuff with it, but I don't know what you're saying that tells me that this product has an advantage over other products. So, we're gonna do something no one does. We're all gonna learn how to use this thing together, because I have no idea. There's some numbers and a stick and some offset things and some CLRs and a bunch of holes and pins, and I'm gonna hurt myself on this, all right? First thing I'm gonna do is spend about a half hour on Google. I'm gonna go through the entire instruction manual, go through all the videos on Rogue's website, look up the fabrication series. That guy's got a lot of great stuff about tube bending. Learn a bunch and then come back and I'm gonna show you what I learned and see if I can figure out what all this stuff means, and we'll all go through this as a team. Yay, friendship. You don't have friends.
Oh. Okay, that's a shape. We've drawn a shape. We've made progress. We watched some videos. We went through some of Rogue's videos. Honestly, Joe, if you're watching this, you're way too smart. Okay, I don't know what the hell you're saying half the time. I watched him like 4 times and he's just like, boopity boopity boop, I built a cage. Where'd the numbers come from? What do I do with my hands? Anyway, we've made this shape. These are just arbitrary angles. Don't look at them geometrically. We know from our machine over here, it's got all these nice little stickers and stuff to tell you what everything is. These are our offsets. These 2 pins need to be set in the same holes. So, and if I spin this guy, you guys can't really see it, but right up here is a sticker that says this is a 6.0 centerline radius CLR die. So I need to run these on 6. There's a 1.75 inch tube on a 6.0 centerline radius. Numbers. Don't know what it means. It's arbitrary to me at this time. I'll figure it out someday. I know on a 6.0 centerline radius right here, it is 0.104 inches per degree of tube take-up. Like you use that much per degree. And I know over here that we have an offset of 6 inches, because this clamp, which this will make more sense when we get into it, but this is where the tubing clamps, is 6 inches away from the center of this die, which the bend in this machine starts here. So, not all machines use this offset. The Rogue Fab does. It's not that hard of math. We only got 10-foot sections of pipe because that's all we can grab. And that's gonna be like 150 inches to do 1 solid hoop. So we're gonna do 2 and then probably bridge it. It's probably super wrong and not what you're supposed to do for a roll bar, but this isn't a roll bar I'm intending to use. This is a last-ditch safety roll bar. If I have to use this, it's gonna be a bad time. There's bigger problems I need to worry about if I'm going upside down, like the floor falling off, hitting me in the face. So we know we have a 6.0 centerline radius equals 0.104 inches per degree, and we have a plus 6 inch offset for the clamp. Yep, come up and turn. 33 inches. There we go. So now we're going to come up, and we decided we want to do a 30-degree bend and then a 60-degree bend to kind of match what the Bronco's got going on. Now, time for math. If I'm doing this right, and I'm still actively trying to figure this out right now, 30 degrees times our 0.104 is going to be 3.12 inches. So this guy right here, this bend, this little buddy, is going to be 3.12 inches. That's a potato, not a 2. There we go.
60-degree bend times the same tube take up. This guy's gonna be 6.24. Now we're starting off with the hardest thing possible. We're doing a bend in the middle of a tube and then trying to measure out to another one. So our first bend is simple. It's just 33 inches. We're gonna come backwards for the offset 6 inches to, what is that, 27? And then we're gonna put a line, call that C for the clamp, because 6 inches beyond that, B is going to begin, which is the bend, which is going to exist for 3.12 inches. Yes. The question is, where the hell do I put the next line? Where's this guy? Where do you exist in this little fiasco right here, buddy? If we take 36 and fold it down to 33, I don't know. Is that how that works? No? Oh no, the pipe's still 36 inches long, it's just not 36 inches tall. There we go. I think I know why he needed the total height. The total height of this, wrong side of the marker, the whole wiener glide height of this freaking 52 inches. So essentially, if we wanted to just make a pipe that came up to here, that was straight, it'd be 52 inches tall. But we want to make a pipe that has a bend right here, which is going to use up 3.2 inches. Is it 3.12? Would it normally be 3 and now it's 3.12? 30 degrees, 0.1 degree.
So then I get shorter?
Yeah, does it get shorter or longer?
I can't read.
Alright, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do it your way. For the first one, to figure out what the happens to a piece of pipe when you bend it, we're going to stick that sucker in there at 27 degrees, inches, 27 to inches. We're going to bend it to a 30, and then we're going to pull it out and look at it, see what goes on. Does it get shorter? Does it get longer? Does it flip upside down? Does it burst into flames? I don't know, okay? But we're going to figure it out. I'm an engineer, I should be able to do this. Maybe like the day I graduate, they go, here's your diploma, and I just go, poof. That's how you bend pipe. Duh. This is like trigonometry and zoology and bugology. A lot of gologies in here.
Kevin, you know what?
I
Just like
my
the
stolen
back of your
Sharpie.
shirt says,
Oh yeah, you're right.
it'll be fine.
It'll be fine. Here's why there's a rogue tube bender sitting in my garage right now. This is why. This is a 7'7" piece of pipe. It just fits, and the rest of these are 10 that I have to bend. There is no room in this damn garage. So if I had to put this thing in a tube bender right here, and then swing it this way, or swing it that way, or swing it whatever direction, left or right, I've got to have like freaking 14 feet around me to do it. But yeah, nah, we're just gonna do it right here, between all these cars, next to a bunch of engines and four-wheelers and junk I don't have time to clean up. And that's possible because when this bends, it bends that way. Everything stays right here. It's awesome. Alright, so we have our C1 mark in the forward side of our clamp block where I can see that line. I understand that one. I'm picking up what they're putting down there. What?
Old mate Heaty.
They got Old Mate Heaty. It's about time to turn on Old Mate Heaty. It's getting to Old Mate Winter. Okay, everything looks to be in the right spot.
That was a very nervous sounding.
I am quite nervous. So it shouldn't blow up that bad. We're gonna make sure we're zeroed. We're gonna bend, what are we bending? 30 degrees?
30 degrees.
Now there's this thing called spring back. Whatever that pipe relaxes back to, the difference in that number, it's gonna be like probably 27 if I had to guess. I need to go 30 minus 27, 3, beyond 30. Because steel is springy and it wants to retain this nice straight tubular shape. And we're gonna make it do a dink. So we have to overbend it for it to relax back to perfectly 30 degrees. Pretty easy to do on this machine. Come on, weld. unit's a bit nicer, it's really fast. Okay, our pressure die pin is tight. We're reading exactly 30 degrees. I'm going to loosen this guy until I can turn this. Keep my nuts away from the springs. There we go. So we're loose right now. We're at about, actually 26. We got about 4 degrees of spring back. So we're gonna bend beyond, retighten this, bend beyond to 34 degrees. Had to do some math there, sorry. Oof, barely made it through that one. Here we go. Now, when I relax this, 30 degrees. There it is. I press a button, I turn a knob, I have a pipe that's a different shape. That's pretty damn cool. Look at this. I did it right here. Among all this stuff I'm tripping over, I can bend tubing just fine. So if you're really tight on real estate, the Rogue M600 tubing bender is the way to go. Let's pull this out, take it over there, see what magic happens to the pipe when you bend it, and do some more math. Okay. So here's what we got. Our roof height, 52 inches. And if I take this tape measure, I come all the way up to that same mark, it is 55, just a little over 55 inches, which is simply the 33-inch base plus 3.12 all the way to 55. So it is the height plus any bends before it. That's what I've learned. Okay, so this video is probably getting way too long at this point, and no one cares about me talking about math. But I figured out what's going on here. So, from this point to our ceiling height of 52 inches is simply the height that the hoop needs to go plus the bend length. So it's literally just straight line math. It's got to go up 52 inches. We're doing a 30-degree bend at a 1.04 degree offset. We're just going to add that 3.12 to 52, and that's our pipe length to the end of that ceiling height. Now, where this all comes from, because we know all of these variables besides this guy right here, this is X. We don't know where to put this exact line for the next bend. So we're going to take the length of the pipe to the ceiling, 55.12, minus the length of the initial leg, minus the length of the initial bend, minus half of the 60-degree bend, which is going to leave us just this X bit, which is 15.88 inches. So from here, the end of this bend, to the point in the middle of the next bend is just under 16 inches. Now, I need to do a 6-inch offset again for our clamp. So we're going to take another 6 off that. And I have a 9.88 for our second clamp position, which is simply, I eyeball about where this bend stops right here, and then add 9.88 inches, hit it with a Sharpie, throw it back in the bender. Let's do it. I feel smarter. Oh, by the way, Rogue sells a software called BendTech that does all of that for you. And I looked at it, it's actually very affordable. So if you guys don't want to go through all that, but you want to have the beauty of having one of these, they've got you covered there too. 60 degrees. That looks like half of a roll cage. We did it. We did a thing. We did a bunch of math, and we made a roll cage.
Or over 90 degrees.
Yeah, it was definitely over 90 degrees. Actually, kind of anticlimactic. And with that, we have the bends for our roll bar. We, as you notice, added another bend. When we put that one in, we didn't like quite where it landed, so we put a 20 degree down here on the bottom. Huge thank you to Rogue Fab for making this video possible, by making this right here possible in a space this big. You can find them online at roguefab.com. it wasn't doing much of the gas tank because there's holes in it. It's now Tuesday evening. The scene prior to this was Sunday evening. I've been at school for the last 2 days and I finally was able to break away and get down to the shop. From here on I have to make a video for this week and then finish up a couple things for school and I can finally get back to this Bronco. I won't say we're on track to have everything done for Sunday because we're definitely not. But we're on track to have a roll cage in here by Sunday. Maybe. Good enough for the truck's eye roll. I think that's good for now. Obviously it needs some supports because it's a big wobbly thing and it's not perfectly level and there's a joint in the middle. But hey, for my first roll bar in a car that literally does not matter and this is just for my own safety, I'd say that's pretty good. Okay, so we have our main hoop, but as I showed you earlier, it's pretty floppy. It's actually better now that it's cooled more. But we still need something to come back and brace into what's left of the frame back here. And I say what's left of because I touched the body mount and now we have this hole. So what I think I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go all the way down to the bottom of the frame, weld, come up, put a plate, weld, 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 then do whatever this angle needs to be to come up and meet up with this guy. Okay, let's switch everything into engineering mode. We have this shape. Here's our roll bar up front, here's our upper hoop, and here's our down. We will have an angle right here that we'll just use the tube take-up math that's on the Rogue bender to add to the length that this pipe needs to be. So, we know a few things here. We know the total height here is 44 inches, we know this rear height's 10 inches, and we know that the distance between the hole we want to put the bar in and the existing bar, we'll call this hoop, is 32.5 inches. Now, if you haven't caught on, it's a really good idea to pay attention in school. Trigonometry is something you will use every week of your life, especially in fabrication. So, here's what we don't know. We don't know this angle, and we need to know this angle so that when I bend this bar, it lands on this existing pipe. And we don't know the length of this. I mean, I could just pop the tape measure out and measure it, but there's actually a seat in my way. So this is actually gonna be easier than removing a seat. Trust me. So since our rear comes up 10 inches, we're gonna take 10 inches off our front. So from this triangle right here is what we can solve for. We got 34 inches on the front, 32.5 along the bottom. We're gonna break out our calculators. Don't get scared, this is easy stuff, okay? All right, opposite adjacent from this angle, opposite adjacent, that's tangent, SOHCAHTOA. All right, we're gonna turn our calculator on. We're gonna throw a tangent inverse in because we're trying to find this angle. We're gonna go 34 divided by 32.5, 46.29. So this angle right here, this guy, theta, is 46 degrees. We're just gonna round. Pretty much what I thought it would be. Now, we have two sides at an angle. Now all we have to do is solve for this side up here. Take a quick swig of your beer and do some math. So this is side A, this is side B, and side C is your hypotenuse. We know from Pythagorean's theorem that a squared equals the square root of b squared plus c squared. Simple math, ladies and gentlemen. So we're gonna go, let's see, 32.5 squared plus 34 squared. We're gonna take the square root of that whole thing. It's going to equal side C. Calculator says 47.03 inches. So now we know everything. We know the length this bar needs to be. We know the length the total bar needs to be, and we know the angle we need to bend it at. So we know it's going to be 47 plus 10 inches plus 45 degrees times 0.104, 4.68. We're going to round up to 6.9 because nice. This bar is going to be 61.68 inches. And there you go. That's why I pay attention in school. Alright, so our tube is bent. We're going to cut it to length, and then we need to notch the end so it'll fit nicely around this other bar. Now this of course requires a notching machine, which is exactly what this is right here. This is Rogue Fab's notcher. They sent us this as well, along with the bender. You can't tell it came pre-welded because it looks a lot better than the welds I do. The thing is, I don't have their cart, and I don't have any raw materials or any kind of cart to mount this to, so I need to put it somewhere, which is exactly what this truck is for. Just straighten it out a little bit. There we go. Ta-da! Notcher. Fully mounted and rerun. Okay, back to the notcher. Okay, here we go. Yeah, it's actually worse. Look at that. That's supposed to be a frame. It's like twice as thick now because it's delaminated. Rubber's still good though. That's nice. You don't know on it. There you go. Okay, we got tons of room to work. A bit of weight reduction has been given attention to, and I can go ahead and clean that up, prep that for a weld and a plate, and strengthen that hole in the frame because it's kind of at a critical spot. Okay, it is now Thursday. That leaves us pretty much 2 days until the event. I have today, tomorrow, and Saturday is wrap up the last little bits to make this thing run and drive again. Hopefully today I can finish the cage, start working on getting a fuel system in place, and finish the rims and tires issue that we have. Which, let me freaking explain to you this beautiful debacle. In the back of my truck, outside in the rain, I have a pretty gnarly set of really old, really hard, dry rotten tires that are meant for off-road for like side-by-side or small vehicles. I paid $400 for the set because one of them's got a big hole in the sidewall. We're gonna do some sketchy stuff later to try to fix that. But here's the problem. This is a 15-inch rim on a 5x5.5 lug pattern. Like I said, those tires were going to run are 14s and these are 15s. Now they do make a 14-inch rim that is 5x5.5 for trailers. This is not one, this is a 5x4.5, which would bolt up to this truck. The problem is, it does not fit around the brakes. The brakes hit. So I took myself down to the junkyard and came home with all this. This is a Dodge Ram 16-inch by 5 and 5.5 rim. As far as the lug pattern goes, this would bolt right on. However, if you'll notice, the offset on these rims, which is where this bolt plate is in relation to here and here, it's literally right here, which is horrible because this thing would be essentially there, which would hit this and everything else. So that is not an option as well. So I've got 15s with tires on them that don't hold air and aren't very good. I have 14-inch tires that are great. I've got 14-inch rims which can't go on because they'll hit this and they can't bolt on. And I have 16-inch rims that can bolt on but can't go on because they'll hit everything back there. So I need a solution. Here's what we got. If you're careful enough, you can cut the center out of a rim. The only thing holding this in here is 4 welds. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a big ring, and then the center plate gets welded in 4 spots. Simple enough. I say simple enough, but it's actually a pain in the ass to get that out. It took me like an hour to get this out. And then you can take a 14-inch rim and weld this right there. Which is exactly what we're gonna do, because we're only gonna go 8 miles an hour off-road and nothing matters, which is why I'm starting to love this off-road stuff. Nothing matters. You could have bad U-joints, it could be on fire, your tires could be 8 inches taller on one side and flop up and down. It doesn't matter, because you do 5 miles an hour crawling around all day at idle. Speed and vibration Doesn't exist. Ron has square drive shafts made of square tubing. They go, and it's fine because you do 3. So in the spirit of off-road, I'm gonna weld this shit all sorts of random to other stuff, and then torch out the other side, have some 14s mounted on here, and bolt this sucker on. It's gonna be the Scrub Steer-O-Matic 3000. But we're gonna have rims and tires to go off-road for like 200 bucks. Saying that out loud, I realize how much that actually cost me. Oh. Man, what I would give for a plasma cutter. Alright, changing up our methods a bit. Cut through the top instead of the sides. I wonder if that right there would work. Let's try that. That might be amazing right there. Okay, so I found something that worked. I cut out the front of this rim. All of this right here is gone. And I've taken this piece, minus all this around the edge, just cut between these holes, and placed it right here in this rim. This gives me a good set into the wheel well, and it stays about that far off of the caliper, which isn't a lot, but it should be enough. So yeah, that's what we got. It works though. Let's see if it fits on the truck. It does. And it turns. It doesn't look that terribly uncentered. I think I did pretty okay. I'm gonna go get a fan set up, get a little more circulation through here. I got the door open now. And then repeat this whole process for about 3-4 hours until we have 4 rims that are done, and go have some tires mounted. We'll be back. Hey Mook, what you got?
These were sitting on the porch when I got home.
What? That's an Eastwood box. Well, heck, this is a surprise I was not anticipating. Prior to starting this project, I had been talking to Eastwood because I like their company and I like what they make. Their MiG 135 welder that I had been using up to this point has been great, but this project was just too much thick metal for it to handle, so we had to upgrade. Like I mentioned, I had been talking to Eastwood previously to try to get some tools in the shop, but I didn't think anything was going to get here in time. So I went out and bought a brand new $2,800 welder. And sure enough, the next day, 6 boxes were sitting on my doorstep. Eastwood surprised the hell out of me and sent us a bunch of stuff, starting with their MP250i multi-process welder. That's actually the box of accessories. This right here is the VersaCut 60 plasma cutter. They sent us a welding cart, a welding helmet, an extension cord, everything we would have needed for this project, now that it's almost done. Damn you, COVID-19. And of course, to make things even worse, this plasma cutter I've needed all morning showed up 30 minutes after I finished welding the last piece for the rims. But there's still actually one more plate in the rear I need to cut, so we are still gonna put this sucker to use and see how it is. Now, I chose Eastwood simply because they are so affordable, and that makes it far more relatable to you guys at home who would like to have some of this equipment for yourself. Their MP250i welder with all the accessories is $1,000 bucks. That's like $1,500 less than anyone else charges for a standard 250 series MIG welder. This right here, which is what we're gonna break out and use today for the remainder of this project, is their VersaCut 60. This is their biggest plasma cutter they make. It goes through like a freaking 1.5 miles of steel, and it costs $700. Now you look up into the other names that are making plasma cutters, and you're gonna spend $1,500 for the same size of machine. Oh, what a view. Air pressure, amps, on off. Some gauges, some connections. So simple. Eastwood, I have to hand it to you. You make the easiest tools to use. Let's put it to work. Okay, I've read the instructions. Everything's set at the amperages it should be. This sucker grounded. Let's see how this VersaCut 60 does to this. I believe this is 5/16 plate. Let's give her hell. How is this legal? This is the best thing I've ever owned. If you run a welding shop and don't have one of these, what are you doing? This would pay for itself in like a week with the amount of time you save. Done. This has to be the coolest damn machine. It's so much power. I'm just really bad at making circles. That's the downside of it though. Means I'm almost finally done getting showered in sparks because I don't wear long sleeves and gloves. Hey, you know what they say, if you're gonna be stupid, you gotta be tough. My skin is like leather now.
That's what leather is made of.
Shut up. Alright, so there's one of our bars. We're coming down to our last big weld when suddenly I remembered, holy crap, I almost forgot. Eastwood sent us this welding helmet, which I'm now looking at for the first time, and holy crap, this thing is awesome. Oh, there's things on the side. It's like a panoramic, oh yeah, panoramic. Oh. Whoa. Oh my god, this is so much nicer. I can see. I can actually see. I've been fighting this for 3 days, and now that I'm done welding, it's like everything else on this build. I opened the box that Eastwood sent, and it's a solution. I can see so well, like literally this to this. There's no difference. Like very, very minimal difference. Typical welding helmet in full light. Pretty dark. Eastwood's panoramic welding helmet. Very bright.
Ooh, I am your garage mate. Clean up your shit. It's all over the place.
So, through that one, the art color is green and everything's hard to see. This one, it's a bright blue. I can see the area around where I'm welding so much better. Okay, that needs tightened. It is now Friday afternoon. We have tires. These are some, I don't even know, off-road systems from like 2004. They are rock freaking hard. These only have 15 pounds of air in them, and I can totally not even press them down at all. These held air overnight. Our rims worked out pretty well. Let's go ahead and roll them in the shop, button up the last couple things I need to cut and weld, put these on, and test drive the truck again. Ooh, right down the shoe. That was hot. We have all four of the big meaty tires on. All of our caging and welding is done for the frame.
It is time to go drive over that little unsuspecting, not that bad dirt pile once again. See if it breaks in half. Oh, hell yes. This feels right. All the dash lights work perfectly. All of them. This one, all these, everything works. That doesn't even happen in our good cars. What the hell?
So you gotta get out of it and look at it from a distance from the side, man.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
Oh my god, yes! Yes! That thing is awesome! Dude, that thing is kick-ass. Oh, woohoo, boy! So I'm gonna say it now in case we have issues at the event. The tire with all the crap all over it blew out the sidewall right here, and we put a patch in and then threw an inner tube in here. It's on the back for a reason because there's like no weight back here. But if anything's gonna stop us, it's that tire. All right, to the dirt pile. There's a lot less creaking and oh, never mind. There is less. No, there's the same amount of noise. A little less. It doesn't flex as bad as the roll bar. Let's take this sucker back inside and start on the mechanical attributes. We need to figure out a gas tank, see if we're gonna mess with the brake. We only got 2 lugs on one of the tires, and we still have open differentials front and rear. So we have 24 hours to fix everything, pretty much. Let's get to it. So we found this piece of sheet steel in the scrap pile that just happens to kind of be near the shop. So we're gonna throw this in there. Oh dude, it's like the perfect size. Look at that. Right to the top. It gives us somewhere to put our gas tank and keeps that leaf spring from hitting me in the back of the head when it comes off. Let's go back inside. It's really cold out here. Damn. That would have been like 45 minutes with the grinder. I love that thing. It is Friday, October 23rd at 7 p.m. We leave at 7 a.m. Sunday, October 25th, which is 36 hours from right now. So we thought, let's just sit down and do the old freaking to-do list on the bumper. Fuel tank. Okay, we're done. No. Rear bumpy pool noodle. Heater. Mixed door. Mini spoolie. Thermostat. Fluids. There's a bad U-joint up front. But there's always going to be a bad U-joint up front.
5 mile an hour.
Yeah, doesn't matter. Oh, floors. I mean, all we've done is a roll cage and tires. It's literally, it took me like 5 days.
Brakes.
Ah, yeah, there's that thing. Brakes, dash, optional, air conditioning. Definitely have to get that one done. Never mind this one above it. I don't think we're gonna have time to put a electric fan in it, so we're just gonna hope that it's 30 and snowing like it's supposed to be Sunday, and we'll be fine.
The truck will be fine, but we're gonna die.
Yeah, truck's not gonna run hot. We're gonna be frozen. Like, let's go make a run to all the stores before they close, and then start burning some midnight oil. Just kidding. It's actually like 7 o'clock, like I said. Jesse, no! Oh. I found the tire. It's really knobby.
So as you can see here, we're just changing the oil, slowly waiting for it to drain out.
Looks like it's going pretty good.
Yep.
Sweet.
That's a fuel tank.
Strap her down and plumb it up. We're gonna go home now, get some beauty sleep, hit it early tomorrow morning,
for the last day.
Won't wake up beautiful.
It's Saturday morning. The event is literally 24 hours from now. And speaking of 24s, it's 24 degrees outside right now with a high of 36 and snow tomorrow. So I'm going to do the only thing logical and make sure we have some floors in here to keep some heat in using this expanded steel. Let's get to it. I'm being sarcastic, by the way. This is to keep the sticks from hitting me in the face. This is going to work great. Not.
So, quick little update. Kevin's off getting parts. We are currently working on replacing this C shock that we've taken out, and while he's gone, I am replacing the thermostat. And as you can see right here, someone has used some sort of goo to plug up the radiator. Yes, tasty. Yes, a thermostat.
So today our time is short, but we have a lot of hands here. Jesse's doing the thermostat. We're putting 160 in to make sure we stay cool while idling around all day. I'm building a tray to set on top of our fuel tank so we have some spot for coolers and gas tank and parts. Mook's working on some stuff, cleaning some stuff up in the cab, getting the last poop out here and there. It's just busy work. We're hauling butt, hoping to get done in time for tomorrow. Chopping things off the list pretty good. I might be able to get to the mini spool and stuff. We'll see. Okay, so here's what we got. We have a random piece of radiator hose from O'Reilly's with a hunk of 1 1/4 pipe and then a metal cap. And this is our filling system. We used the existing pickup line and everything from the boat to feed into our pump through our filter, la-di-da. This here is our tank vent, and I have a ball valve on the end of it. So when we're riding along, we turn our vent on, everything functions just fine. And then we flip upside down and fuel were to start coming out the vent. We go, oh, no more fuel that comes out the vent, upside down. Boom, sealed system. Can't leak. I don't see how this could go wrong. I'm sure it will teach me how it can go wrong. To finish things off, we have this rack that I made that will hold our cooler and everything we need back here. Damn, that actually looks pretty good. We're almost to the point where this thing's good to go for the weekend, and then anything beyond that is modifications to help it off-road, such as the mini spool and whatnot. So let's keep chugging away, see if we can get there. So if you remember on the Revival, we had to replace the solenoid, and we were having, I don't remember if it was in the video, but we were having some weird issues where like it would start, but we had to use an accessory wire for somewhere else, and the key would only work for the like coil, but not the actual crank, and all the electronics would only work when it was running, like it was running off the alternator. So I came to test this, and I went boop, boop, fired it up, and we were dropping voltage slowly. And I thought about it, and I decided, well, if the alternator is working, it will power our lights when the vehicle's running, and only when it's running, which is what we were having. But if the battery's working, it should still start the vehicle, which it was. Like everything was working, just not together. I thought about it, and eventually I came to a conclusion. This wire right here was my biggest clue. We used this initially for the fuel pump and stuff, and then in time it quit working. It just stopped. And I was like, what the hell is going on here? So I thought about it, and then I decided, you know what? All this sat here without a solenoid, just out in the open, not bolted together for 10 years, and probably corroded. So I pulled it apart, and sure enough, all of these wire ends were just rusted to hell. So I took them and filed them down, cleaned them up really nice, and I've put the bolt back on, and we're gonna see if this works now. I should know right away if that was the issue, if we throw the switch for the fuel pump, and the fuel pump turns on, if I can get this to stay, because it's been cut in half. There we go. All right. Actually, we should be able to know even before that. If I pull the headlight switch and the headlights come on, we're on the right track. Ready?
Yep. Well, yeah, one headlight.
Okay. Fuel pump? We got a fuel pump. All right. Let's see if the key works fully. There it is. Although they were bolted together really tight, they're so rusty that they weren't connecting to each other. The battery was connecting to the solenoid, and the alternator was connecting to power the system, but the battery and the alternator weren't on speaking terms, and it was a mess. So now, 14 volts, we have a charging system. It runs better too. Alright, so everything under here is good to go. We've got a new thermostat, we've got fresh oil, a big spider just crawled out of that. We have a fuel line set up, we have a charging system. Our fan's moving a ton more air since we tightened the belt. It was slipping all along, but we just couldn't hear it because it was old and soft, I imagine. If I have time, I'll replace that accelerator pump diaphragm again, but as far as everything under the hood goes, I think we're good to go. So let's go check our to-do list, see what's left. I bet this video is like an hour long by now. Alright, alternator. Zing! The front left shock has been taken off. We couldn't find one, so we're either going to go no shocks or see if we can get one off the burnt turd. Let's do a fluids check, fix the shock and the wheel studs, and then we're like done besides putting a mini spool in. And it's 2 p.m. That's pretty damn good. If I start tearing into this one, I can do this one at the same time. Went down to O'Reilly's and found a shock that is hoop on the bottom, pin on top, of similar size, and we're gonna put it in. Maybe. We'll see. It's fighting us. Kind of massage everything into the proper shape, and then we'll be good to go. It's probably 3:30, the day before the event. We're gonna pop all of this stuff off and pull our axle shafts and our center section and put a mini spool in. Yeah, at least that's the goal. Boop. Boop. And boop. Okay. Brakes are off. This tensioner's gone. Doesn't matter. We're going in the woods. Pins. Alright, so at this point, we'll pop these 4 here off and bring our axle shafts out each end, and then we can pull our center out of the front. Let's do it. There we go. Oh, look at all the delicious goo I forgot to catch. Perfect. Alright. There's one side. Do the same for the other. Pop the front out, put the spool in.
If I hear it yelling at Alan, I'll drive you to the yard.
I only went in my mouth a little. There you are, sir.
I grabbed this kind of shit. Told you I grabbed it kind of shit.
It's in the bucket. That works.
That's where I wanted it.
So with that, we have an empty axle housing. I'm going to get started on replacing everything for our brakes. Ashton, my buddy from Quick Performance here in town, is going to do his magic on throwing that mini spool in to save us a little time, and then I won't screw it up, because I've never done one. This is not a good scenario to rush through it the first time I'm going to do one. So
It's a good learning experience for you, though.
yeah, that's true. So while Ashton is putting the mini spool in that center, I'm going to go ahead and get these brake plates ready so that when he gets back we can slap the axles in, hook up the brakes, do some brake lines, and be done. We're using the brakes that came off of Mook's truck from her last video. I made sure to save them so that we could do this. Alright, Ashton just got back from Quick Performance down the road, dropped off my center section, saved me 2 hours of time. Thank you very much, sir. If you're unaware what a mini spool is, it essentially replaces your spider gears with a solid block of metal. So this is now a solid rear axle. And if I ever wanted to go back to having an open differential, I could. Whereas most people will take this out and just weld it all up, and that's how it is forever, and it's essentially junk if it breaks or fails or you want to put a limited slip or anything in. I still have a perfectly usable 9-inch housing. Call up Quick Performance. They are $15 for a 31 spline mini spool. $15. You can have a solid rear axle. QuickPerformance.com. Call them up. They're located here in Ames if you are local. Let's go ahead and get this sucker back in the truck, put our axles in, and put all of our brakes on. Okay, center section's all clean. All our RTV is on. Now let's put it in. A mere 75, 80 pounds, that's all. Oh, rest in peace, RTV. Ow! Shit, rest in peace, my finger. We'll get these nuts back on, torque everything down, and then put our axles in, put our brakes on, and fill the sucker with goo. Up,
Up,
down,
down,
up,
up,
down.
down.
That's clean right there. No air, we have rear brakes. Hell yes. Alright, throw the drive shaft back on, fill the differential with fluid, cross everything off the list, go wheeling.
Can I go up now?
Oh yeah, up.
Up.
Okay, our brakes are done. Jesse and Mook are putting the tires on, and everything on the back of the vehicle is finished. I am going to pop this accelerator pump out. Emphasis on pop. If you remember, this was like the small diaphragm, and this is the big cup. So we're going to change that around so that we have the big diaphragm in the big cup. And there we go. Tighten this back down, put the carburetor back on, check all the lugs, do one last fluid check on the coolant and oil, and load it on the trailer. There it is. We're done. Alright, with that, it is 8 hours until we have to be an hour south of here in Knoxville, Iowa, for the Make It or Break It Toys for Tots event. As far as I'm aware, we're going to have about 5 or 6 rigs similar to this meeting is out there, and it's going to be one hell of a fun time. So we will see you next week right here on Junkyard Digs, where we take this hunk of junk and see just how well it does off-road. If you like this video, leave a like below. Make sure you subscribe to support the channel. Support Junkyard Mook, Thunderhead 289, Dylan McCool, Classic Mustangs 429, Vice Grip Garage, Deboss Garage, Cars and Cameras, the whole gang. We'll see you right here next week. Peace. Cold-blooded as hell. Alright, let's get this sucker on a trailer and head south. We'll see you guys in like a few hours. A week.